Welcome to your Angelic Karma. I'm going to do a weekly reading. Today is Saturday, July 18th. I made it through Tuesday through Friday, so why not do a very light energy? Why not do a weekend reading? Let's see here. Show me. Saturday today, July 18th. Saturday, July 18th. Here. Six of Swords. The Sun. Yeah, that passed rather quickly. Something came in, it passed rather quickly. Is the same MO, same mode of operating. You know this cycle. It's like, okay, I know this cycle like that, and it was very short. It did not run its full course, so that confirms that something is phasing out is what I'm getting. So let's see. Five of Cups, the Queen of Wands, Sun is the major arcana, and there's the Ace of Wands. Four of Wands crowning the Sun, and then we have the Eight of Wands crowning the Five of Cups, the Hangman crowning the Queen of Wands, excuse me. Don't base this on the past is what this message is about. Whatever is happening is about not basing it on the past, even though those past components are present. Now, it does have something to do with the past, but you don't have to base this on the past because it's okay that the past components, they present themselves because they're phasing out. The experience doesn't conclude the way that it usually did from beginning to end. It cuts itself because it ceases now to be a complete experience because it's run its full course like that. So it would have been something that may have run a course of numerous presentation, numerous experience, but then it's now like it just kind of falls flat, and then that is the in the past as it ran its course. It took a period of time for that, from that first presentation to the ending of its run its course, and then the outcome. Okay, it took a length of time. Now, each length of time could be calculated, defined, and very well represented. Now, because the complete experience is over, it would be but the echo of the experience presents itself as it dims out, diminishes, and then ceases to be a part of what can be experienced. So it would take the entirety of the experience, and the length would be cut, like as opposed to when the premier introduction of this, the first the first introduction of the experience, it would have went through a length of time, predetermined length of time. Okay, and this is the end of the outcome, and then those would have went through on their own cycle, and it would have been the same thing, then differentiation. But now because it's diminishing, and it would cease to be something that can be experienced. It will be the complete experience, but at a shorter time length, like that. Okay, now. And that's why one could say what the sun is clarity, highlighting, and shining through the window. That's why one could say, well, I know this cycle, I know this experience, but then the different ingredient will be the time length, because it's something that is that cannot be experienced anymore in its fullness, and then it becomes something that cannot be experienced anymore at all. is that. So the big question is, what is coming that what is coming that replaces it? It will be something completely different than what this was. It has to be, because this is like an experience that cannot be fully involved in and engaged in to the length and magnitude that it was before. So I'm gonna just, that's a full message there. So let's go ahead and lay another spread. An emperor. So for me, the emperor is Saturn. Whenever I look at the emperor, I think about Saturn. I know in astrology there's like Aries on it, but for me, this is Saturn. This is the beard, and then on this throne of cement, there's an older man with the crown on. Somebody very grounded and stable and cemented in, very like sturdy, stable, and exalted is the emperor for me. At a mundane level, this could be the father, this could be the grandfather, this would be a masculine authority, is the emperor. It's not Aries for me. Aries is erratic, spontaneous. This is an old man. This is Saturn. Or your grandfather, or your father, or a stable husband, or an authority figure. Let's see. It's the Four of Pentacles. Ten of Pentacles. This is family, aunts, cousins, children, old man. Okay, let's see. Now, this is what I'm going to say. Now, we're going to let Saturn go and do what he does. Jupiter's like, okay, you're Angelic, come, where's Saturn? Well, he's gone handling other business, and I'm in charge of things. Now, because I need to get things done. So let's clarify this Four of Pentacles. And then he can come in and do an overview of the results when he returns. We're going to do that. There's the Wheel of Fortune. Let's let the wheel turn on that. There's Jupiter there. I can just pick the cards I want. Let's go. Let's go ahead and have the head person in charge. Okay? Let's just go through the deck and pick them. No. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. This the authority. This is authority in things that was in place before us. Okay, this is that. This is what you follow. This is Saturn. Now, so we're not gonna do that. Saturn is gonna be alphabet, and I'm gonna be getting things done because I just can't do anything in his presence. You have to just go over there. Okay. Now, and then you could there's the star. That would be me. Okay. Now, so, and then when you return, we could just have that overview and that talk. He's in agreement. Now, let's go ahead and get us another spread here. We have the Empress, the Wheel of Fortune, the Nine of Pentacles, Now we're talking. The Ace of Pentacles and this Seven of Pentacles. I need to make something happen. Now, and it's very highly specific and highly detailed. And let's see here. Well, yeah. And that's a very Saturn thing to say. Okay, now this is what this is here. This is taken from oneself and then replenishing oneself from oneself. Okay, this is the Nine of Pentacles. This is how you're seen in the spirit realm of your earthly life being a representation of this. This is somebody very abundant. These are Pentacles. This is through one's own hard work, energy, and effort. This could also be generational wealth also, but this is a very independent card. It would be inclusive of one's own hard work, energy, effort. We already saw the Ten of Pentacles with family. Now, this is from this Pentacle. Okay. And then putting it here where there's something that is specific that is missing. Then you had a Wheel of Fortune around you, and then you had an Empress. Okay, now let's see. The Empress representing a maximum of abundance, fullness, having everything one want. And we're speaking practicality. These aren't about motion and failure. Okay, so then we have Jupiter here. Now, everything, like all the ingredients are here. But the main character is, well, that would be the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, with all the ingredients, with everything possible to make something happen. But so that means there's something very specific that is flipping, and this Ace of Pentacles becomes something else as opposed to what it was. The Ace of Pentacles needs to change, because when one has all the ingredients practically, and then it's like, okay, that Ace of Pentacles needs to change and become something else, and then it fits in here. Because if it just goes in here like this, it's just, okay, that's just taken from oneself and putting it here, okay, and then it goes back to oneself and then taken, which is how things function when you're full. That's the Empress, and you're the Wheel of Fortune in the Nine of Pentacles. So it means that this Ace of Pentacles needs to now become something else, and when it lands here, this completely shifts. Now, Saturn had to move out the way in order to watch that Eureka moment, come into the forefront of one's thoughts. Saturn is like, okay, now you get it. Yeah, because you've moved. And I can see it. So, let's see. So this here is the problem when it gets here. It doesn't fit as it is. This doesn't fit as it is. It needs to shift this here. Okay, so because that's stated, known, observed, and Saturn is like, okay, because that's that, now it's time for it to flip and this becomes something different. Or this remains and this becomes something that we don't care how to help, whichever one, just make it different. And Saturn being a great scientist, everything is an enigma. Okay, so this here needs to be something different. This, you have an abundance. This you have. Okay, so this is the never-ending reservoir. So it puts the attention on, okay, Saturn states, I thought he was gone. Okay, let's see. He's Okay, let's see. Okay, but this is a Saturn channel. Okay, now Saturn states, okay, well, if you know that there's in a reservoir of this here. So, and the Wheel of Fortune, how you see the spiritually, the Empress, all of that, just all of the fullness that one can have practically. If you know that, that will mean that these elements have different functionings within different within the different relevance of the architecture is what I'm getting with this. So it has to be looked at differently. When does this not need to be the Ace of Pentacles? We're talking about money. All this is about money. Right up my alley. People like to talk about love. Let love handle itself. Okay, let's talk about the finances. Now, when does this not need to be the Ace of Pentacles? And something else needs to go here. Or when does it need to be the Ace of Pentacles, but it needs to change, or it needs to change, or this needs to change. Okay, like that. Or it needs to create a change that's relevant to this change that needs to happen here. So it's a very intrinsic formula of calculus. This is a very intrinsic formula of calculus here, because this here, Ace of Pentacles, can change its meaning and significance. In this Seven of Pentacles, it can shift in meaning and significance depending on the relative architecture of whatever this is becoming. And it becomes differently and unique in different within different periods. It depends on what the whole of the equation is. That's Saturn. That's how Saturn shows up for me. So this is what I have to say with that with Saturn. Well, this whole channel can be about me just talking to Saturn. Okay, well, if this is what we could do, you show me the result and the answer, and then I'll say, oh yeah, now I see. Because there will have to be an example, because this means that this is not a quantitative figure, because this Ace of Pentacles can change. And your angelic karma is a calculus genius. So this would not be a quantitative figure. Okay, because this Ace of Pentacles can change depending on the relative architecture here. Now, we know that the non-relative architecture is what gives it its meaning. Okay, that's that. So this means that this can become, this here, it can become, this Ace of Pentacles become different at different points in within an equation, and then this can shift in its representation. So what would need to happen here is to do it where, and then so there could be a multitude of examples. So we need to have a real life manifested example. Now that means that this could actually be the lead. That would change, because this would be the defining this, as opposed to this coming here over here and defining what the what the actual paradox is. It wouldn't even be the answer. It wouldn't be an answer. It would be just it would be defining what the paradox is. So it would be this here. So this is really placed like this, like that. So it would be about waiting for an example of what that looks like, even though hell, it could look like a multitude of things. So this is math. This is what I'm getting with this here. What people call the universe. The universe, I spoke about this some years ago. It speaks to me in tessellations, in mathematical tessellations, in mathematical formalism. So when Saturn is speaking, it's like, well, do this calculus problem, your angelic karma. Well, okay. Okay, so that's what this is. So I would need I would need an example of what one of the correspondent paradoxes would be regarding any type of architecture that would be here, which would, in hell, that would be multiple. And also the question, when you're talking about, when you're speaking of a numerical value, would that be 7, 8, 9, or 8, 9, and 10? It would be the only numerical value, and that wouldn't have anything to do with here, but that's coming to mind. Okay. That would go here with this over here with this 9 of pentacles. So would that be 10? This would be 10. That would be 10. The 9 and the 8, so it would be 10. So that would go back with the 10 of pentacles. Okay, so that would be, doesn't have anything to do with what the question is here. This is the calculus problem. That's the what is presented there. Okay, everyone. Bye.